If Alien Storm looks, sounds, and feels like Golden Axe, well, that's because it's made by the same team, right down to its 3 characters and short-reach attacks. If you're a fan of Golden Axe, you'll probably enjoy this game. Aliens have come to Earth to take over the planet, and your job as a Special Forces team called the Alien Busters is to stop them by any means possible. As mentioned before, you get 3 characters to choose from, each with his or her or its own unique basic and special attacks. Though you're equipped with guns, they don't have much reach on them, which means you have to get up close and personal with these alien bastards. This can get a little frustrating, as sometimes it feels like you just can't seem to attack an enemy. Along with the standard beat-em-up stages, you'll play through these first-person perspective levels where you're shooting enemies and destroying background objects to gain energy, which is used for the game's special attacks. Overall, I really enjoy the presentation of this game. The backgrounds have nice detail, and though the sprites are a bit on the small side, everything looks really good for a 1991 release. The sound, on the other hand, isn't too great. The music is good, but that's about where it ends. The sound effects are pretty ugly, and the voices are just disturbing. This game can get a little bit difficult as you progress, which can get frustrating, and it's not as good as a lot of other beat-em-ups from the time, but it's definitely worth checking out, even if you're just a little bit of a fan of this genre. Now here's another underrated SNES beat-em-up. Now when I first played this game as a kid, I was a little disappointed. Back then we wanted options, and the fact that this was a beat-em-up where I couldn't select the character I wanted, well, it pissed me off. But nevertheless, once I got over that, I realized that this is a very good beat-em-up game. Good, but a bit tough. You have a standard attack and 2 unique attacks, the first of which is a spin attack, which you can perform at any time, but you will be left in a dizzy state for a few seconds after using it, so use it only when you really need it, as it will leave you open for enemy attacks. The other is your D-punch. Every time you spawn, you will receive 3 of these, and they come in handy for bosses. In between stages, you'll play these strange mini-games that have you knocking down buildings and destroying 18-wheelers. Funny thing is, these games are based on the arcade version of Sonic Blast Man. You see, in the arcade, this game was not a beat-em-up, not even a little bit. It was an interactive punching game. It was only ported to the SNES as a beat-em-up. I don't know why. It makes no sense, but hey. The graphics are very good. The sprites are big and the backdrops look nice. They even take advantage of Mode 7 here. The sound effects are very high quality, and while the music isn't anything amazing, it is very good. Overall, this is a very good beat-em-up, and I highly recommend it. Super Double Dragon hit the SNES in 1992. After 3 installments on the original Nintendo, fans were pretty familiar with Jimmy and Billy, and this game had some good hype behind it. I have mixed feelings about it. Being such a big beat-em-up fan, I have certain expectations, and sometimes this game just doesn't meet them. Let me start off by saying, while the sprites are a little small for my liking, the graphics are very colorful and they pulled off the visuals well. Some of the backgrounds can look a bit bland, but I mean, that's gonna happen every once in a while. The controls are great. I love the fact that you're not limited to one attack button. Instead, you have a button to punch and one to kick, along with jump and block. Block is a great addition, and if timed right, when an opponent attacks, you can actually pull off reversals, which is awesome. Now, where I start to get frustrated is the fact that the enemies are extremely repetitive and they take a very long time to be killed. The gameplay is also a little bit on the slow side, and the frame rate lags quite a bit when there's a lot going on. There's a power gauge under the life meter that you can fill by holding either of the shoulder buttons. This power will let you perform special attacks like the flying hurricane kick. The sound effects are a bit on the boring side, and the music is, well, it's a bit on the boring side. I mean, it's not bad, but there's really only a few tracks that stand out to me. I just feel like this game didn't take a full step forward and use the SNES to its full potential, and the difficulty can get kind of steep. For me, it's a must-have as a fan of the genre and to complete the series, but it tends to be a little bit more pricey than other beat-em-ups. Still a good game though, so give it a try. Streets of Rage hit the Genesis in the summer of 1991. You'll play as one of 3 ex-police officers fighting to take back the city from an evil crime syndicate, and you'll do so in typical beat-em-up fashion. Punch, kick, and beat enemies senseless with weapons. Axel, Adam, and Blaze take to the city, each with unique attributes. There are a lot of power-ups located throughout the city, usually indestructible objects like phone booths and tables and such. This is one of those damn near perfect beat-em-ups. The gameplay is as good as it gets. The hit detection is spot on, the jumps and attacks feel really good, and even though you only get one special attack per level, it's very satisfying. Whereas the Super Nintendo did not allow us to beat up women in its beat-em-ups, such as Final Fight, the Sega Genesis had no such prejudice. The developers did a great job of really capturing that grimy, gritty feel of the city run by thugs. Every level is alive with character, and every enemy fits the game design well. And to top it all off, this game has great in-game music. As a kid, I really didn't think they could top Streets of Rage. Little did I know what Sega had in the works. Streets of Rage 2. This time, one of the original game's characters, Adam, has been kidnapped by Mr. X and the Syndicate, so Axel and Blaze set out to rescue him and the city once more, but not without the help of Adam's younger brother Skate and Axel's friend Max Thunder, who is in fact a professional wrestler. Yeah, that idea has never been used before. Gone are the special attacks where you can call on a police car to launch a missile towards your enemies. This time each character has a less impressive but still quite effective attack that can be performed at the expense of some health. Along with new main characters, we also get quite a few new enemies. Also, the graphics have been improved with smoother, larger sprites and cleaner backgrounds. The levels in this game always impressed me as a youngster. I mean, like the first title, we start out in the streets and things look pretty similar, but before you know it, you're fighting in a bar, an alley, on a bridge, and in an amusement park. Oh, and the great music from the first game? Even better here. And seriously, can you believe how juiced I was as a kid fighting a guy with a frickin' jetpack? I mean, this game was just too cool. I feel they did a really good job of stepping up so the game didn't just repeat what the first one did. I've definitely played Streets of Rage 2 more than the others, and maybe that's why it's my favorite. I'm not sure, but nevertheless, this is one hell of a game that took the first title and only improved on an already incredible beat-em-up. In 1994, Streets of Rage 3 was released. Skate, Axel, and Blaze return to take down Mr. X, but this time they have help from Zan, who was once a part of the Syndicate. Mr. X has created robots that are clones of city officials so he can run things. Yeah, things are getting a bit crazy here. One thing you'll notice instantly is that the graphics have been updated once again. This game looks great. This game also runs quite a bit faster than the previous titles. Sound effects haven't changed much, and music is great once again. This time around though, the AI is a bit tougher. They'll pick up weapons and quite frequently back you into corners and even steal health pickups. Weapons can only be used a few times before they break and you're forced to drop them. This kind of sucks, but yeah, I guess it's fair. This go around, every player has a dash ability which only Skate had in Streets of Rage 2. This can be achieved by double tapping left or right on the directional pad. Also new to this installment is a power gauge that appears where the timer was in the previous titles. When this power gauge fills up, you can perform your special attack without losing any health. The levels are all pretty much what you'd expect from a Streets of Rage by now, and they all look really good. Ultimately, I didn't play this game a whole lot when I was a kid, but I wish I would have because it's just great. It's really difficult, but it's great. I wish we could have gotten a 4th installment on the Saturn or maybe the Dreamcast, but you know what? I'm just glad we got these 3 gems. Streets of Rage 1 through 3 are a must-have for the Genesis. Well, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned as I'm currently working on a review for WrestleMania 19 for the GameCube, and that's coming soon. Again, thanks for watching. Now, go get your beat 'em up on.